your favorite coach was trying to figure out exactly which direction he was going to tackle this particular topic that we're going to talk about today, because this Supreme Court vote of 6-3 to end race as a main factor for admissions for for a lot of these colleges and universities, it left me wondering, what are we doing? Which direction are they trying to take us now? Are they really trying to push us back to where we were many moons ago, as far as we're trying to fight for an opportunity to be educated? I mean, how is this going to affect those that are coming out of high school like this year, years to come? How is it going to leave them thinking as far as, okay, should I go? Shouldn't I go? What should we do? Well, you know what? Coach had to sit down. He had to pump his brakes a little bit and get himself together as far as thinking outside the box like I normally do. And guys, we're going to go ahead and run through a couple of things as far as where we are and where we could possibly go to make this thing work out for us later, make it work out for us right now and later on down the line. We're going to talk about it right after this. You know, it's your favorite coach back at it again. 10 toes down, about to tell you how it all went down. This is Tomorrow Leader Sports Network with your host, Coach Walker. If you're new to the channel, please like, share, subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you can get all upcoming videos. For all my leaders out there, welcome back. Y'all know the drill. Y'all know the routine. If you haven't done so already, please like, comment, and share these videos. And tap in the friend to it. Tell them to come on in. It's number positive vibes. We're just having a good time talking about HBCU sports. But in this instance, we ain't talking about sports. We're going to get into the Supreme Court vote of 6-3. But guys, like I said before, if you haven't done so already, invite your friends on in, tell them to come on in, tap in with a friend of a friend of a friend, and let's talk about this thing so we can go ahead and continue to keep moving this thing forward. But we're going to go ahead and jump on in this thing, because I know I cut off my normal monologue to get to where we are right now, because Coach needed some time to really digest this and just really dive in and do some research to figure out exactly what in the heck is going on here. Because honestly, I could have got real reckless with this. I mean, Coach was feeling real spicy with talking about this particular issue, because I'm looking at how things are how things are trajecting upward. And now we have some folks that feel that, nah, you guys are getting a little bit beside yourself. And I know when I say you guys, meaning those that, the minorities are getting a little bit outside of pocket as far as them trying to obtain more. Because you look at it, you got a lot of billionaires out here. You got more millionaires than what you had before. Many say, 20 years ago. You got billionaires now, more than what they were before as well. So now you look at how all of this is taking place. How's everything shaping up? And when I think back to all of those that fought for affirmative action to happen, and when you look at all of those people that went through all of the unnecessary things that they had to deal with just so that they can get educated properly, I said, you know what, Coach, pump your brakes, brother, before you really get out of pocket and just get to saying something. Even though the points was going to be on, I was just going to get real spicy with this thing and said, nah, we're not going to do this. Because I thought back to those that fought for the affirmative action, and when Brown versus the board back in 1954 on May 17th, when it was finally, when, all the way up to that time, they was denying access to minorities to attend colleges and universities. Well, today, we really haven't had much of that issue. We've had that issue, so to speak. It's been like kind of underlying where, a lot of these universities, they've made it difficult for people to get into their institutions, which is understood. But this is the time right now for HBCUs to really buckle down and find ways to compete with many of these institutions that offer programs that we may not offer. And why I say this, because you got to think, I looked at an article that Dr. French, the president of Clark Atlanta University, actually he did an interview on ABC, and they ran an article on it. And I was listening to the interview as far as what he was talking about. I just sat there, I was like, wait a minute. I said, Dr. French got some valid points here. I mean, especially, he understood the fact that, and it upset him just like many of us, where that vote came through 6-3 by the Supreme Court saying, using race as a means for someone to be granted admission to a college or university, they're going to do away with that. Go back and look at HBCUs enrollment by race and ethnicity back in 2016. Now, I know y'all like, Coach, wait a minute, 2016, that's 7 years ago. But you got to understand one thing. If you look at these numbers now that I'm going to show you, because just think to yourself, look at the numbers for HBCUs where you had blacks, they labeled as blacks. So I don't want nobody to get offended. This is not a offensive piece by no means, but I want everybody to understand this. Blacks going to HBCUs was 73.8%. Over 1 in 10, which was 11.4%, were white, and 5.1% were Hispanic or Latino. The remaining 9.7% were from other backgrounds, including 2.5% were from international students. Those are the numbers from back in 2016 of individuals that decided that they wanted to go to an HBCU to continue getting their education. Now, I know I hear a lot of y'all saying, hey, coach, we get all of that. That's all well and good. But thinking about, what Dr. French said in the interview, as far as the decision is an opportunity and a challenge for HBCUs. The challenge will be consistent of the different programs that many of the universities and colleges offer are something HBCUs don't offer. And now that the decision has been rendered, how will high school graduates this year and many years to come will react when it comes to deciding if they want to pursue a college education? And that's a valid point, because think about it. There's some, if you go to your inner cities and really dive into exactly a lot of these students, they're having hard times just getting through K through 12. You got a lot of students out here that are dropping out of school. Why? Because some of them feel that it's not a means for them to continue on with education. They got to get out here right now and make money for their households. Well, just think, if you have individuals that's already doing that, how many more do you see coming down the line that's going to do the exact same thing as them? So when you look at it from that standpoint, you think to yourself, like, wait a minute, we need to find a way to get the programs back in place, i.e. Mechanics and things of that nature, shop that we used to have, had back in high school. Then they ran away from that because they didn't want to fund it anymore. See, you got a lot of these things that have been going on at the state level as far as funding these schools to continue programs that were needed for people to get out here and continue to educate themselves. Even if it wasn't them going to a 4-year college or university, they still found a means for them to get out here, get some type of career, and continue to keep moving forward. Now, what are they doing? Instead of having it in high school, we say, hey, we're not going to give it to them free in high school. We're going to push this over to the college, where now they got to go to the college to go get this type of education so that they can, fall in line as far as with having that type of career to move themselves further. So again, that leaves me to ask this question. What is it that we can do to start trying to think outside the box for us to move in a different direction? But before we get to that, I want you guys to understand this. When you look at college graduation percentage of affirmative action students, which is 57%, affirmative action students graduating compared to 73% of non-affirmative action students. See, what's been going on for some time now that many of us have not been paying attention to, that a lot of these schools out west, I think it's San Diego and one of the other colleges out in California, they don't use affirmative action to allow students into their university. The sad part about it is now it's becoming a global, it's not global, but a world issue, because now people are pushing for this change. Like, wait a minute, they're still graduating, but we have numbers here that show that non-affirmative action students graduated from school 73%. I mean, let's look at the numbers, guys. 57 to 73, and we talk about 2016. So just imagine if those numbers actually, were shown right now, as far as how much closer those percentages are. You get what I'm saying? So when you look at how everything is going on, yeah, of course, they're going to find a way to move the goalposts once again. That's how it's always been. That's not the way it should be, but that's how it's always been. It's like, man, they're getting a little too close. Let's move the goalposts a little bit further ahead. Let's see how hard they're going to fight to get there. And when you look at another number that I found was that in 2005, it was 20% less. When you look at the numbers again, just imagine, in 2005, it was 20% less than what the numbers are today, what the numbers were in 2016. Like I said, affirmative action definitely allows students the opportunity to afford them a place to attend those schools, those dream colleges and universities that they've always wanted to attend. And that's not an issue. But like Dr. French said from Clark Atlanta University, yes, we're upset about what has taken place. But at the same time, we understand that it provides an opportunity for HBCUs to provide access to educate for those who otherwise would not have it. So with that being said, I sat back and I thought about it. I said, you know what, let me look at this here. Because it really made me reshape my thinking as far as what exactly can we do to position ourselves to reach out to those students that were considering going to college and now have, possibly decided, I don't want to do that. It's kind of like when coaches go out to try to recruit athletes to come into their program. Well, now, guess what? HBCU is going to need to make sure that they find a way to recruit the students to come into their universities to continue their education. Some may think that it's not possible for them to do, while others are thinking like, man, I wish I had somebody out there that could sit down and talk to me to position me as far as the direction that I need to go. That's going to also have to happen on the high school level, where you have your advisors sitting down with these students, letting them know, hey, listen, guys, there's an option for you. If you choose to take this option is going to get you to where you need to go. You may have to go a step or two a little further, but it will get you there, and it won't have you strung out with a bunch of debt. You get what I'm saying? So it's times like this where we really have to start thinking out the box. But I know a lot of y'all like, okay, coach, that sounds all well and great, but how do we do that? Well, like I said, now's the time you got to reach back out to those donors. There was a lot of philanthropy that was going on as far as with donations from a lot of these different big name people around the country that and I hate to bring this up again, guys, but it's the truth. I only can give you the truth as far as what's going on, because it took for all of this chaos to happen for people to say, you know what, it's time for us to give back, because look at what's going on over here with this group, or look what's going on as far as within our communities. Yeah, they're right. There's a lot of, there's a lot of injustice that's going on that needs to be cleaned up. Yeah, some folks, they wanted to donate and didn't really want to put their names on it, while others did go ahead and put their names on, let everybody know, hey, listen, I am, I'm willing to come in and bring my dollars to, your situation, or bring my dollars to your HBCUs for you to further put programs in place for you to further clean up your, get your facilities and everything in order, so that you can attract those students that want to come to your university to be a part of, what you have, your culture and what you have going on here, for them to get out into the world to want to possibly come and give back, so that they understand that this is a reoccurring cycle where it's like one hand washing the other continuously. And that's basically what we're doing right now. Well, not basically what we're doing right now, but basically that's what they're hoping that happens. As far as a lot of these donors that gave to a lot of these universities. I mean, think about it. You had Hastings and Quillen. They donated to Spelman University and Morehouse College. Or, you got Bill and Melinda Gates, who donated to the United Negro College Fund and 5 other high education consortiums and organizations that deal indirectly with HBCUs. Remember, HBCUs got financial assistance during the pandemic, where they received money from the government. And again, like I said, philanthropists were giving money at hot clips as far as making sure that these HBCUs had the necessary financial means to continue to keep their doors open and move forward. I mean, heck, think about it. You had Governor DeSantis down in Florida. He gave Cookman an additional $13 million. I think it was Bethune, somebody else, an additional $13 million down there in Florida. So in the state of Florida. So, I mean, people, the money was what really had me scratching my head here. It has me thinking that the money, the finances is there. Now's the time that you have to make sure that these state representatives and these people that represent us, that we're putting in offices, you have to make sure that their behinds get out here and do what they're supposed to do for these HBCUs, and not allow these governors or whomever to sit back and take the money and reassign it or earmark it to go somewhere else instead of going to your local HBCUs. Again, there's so many different things out here that we can do as far as just finding a means to make sure that things continue to keep rolling the way that they need to roll. I mean, think about it. It's just time. It's time for everyone to roll up their sleeves. All HBCU presidents, time to roll up your sleeves and go to war for your HBCUs. Because now they're trying to put that weight on your shoulders to show, hey, look, it's time to move this thing forward. I don't want to hear none of this crazy stuff about some guy over here, you went to go take a picture and y'all was expecting X, Y, and Z to happen. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. It's time to understand exactly what's going on here. When people want to get photo ops on your behind, make sure that they're coming to do what they need to do for the HBCU, and not just trying to, use it as a political ploy to say, hey, look, I'm here, with them, and then you're not willing to do anything for them. That has to stop. But again, there's a couple of resources that I was looking at here. that came available. And like I said, these presidents, they got to push the envelope forward to make sure that HBCUs continue to strive to be bigger, better, and stronger. Like it took for the 6 FAMU students that got out there and decided they're going to file a class action lawsuit against the state of Florida as far as how the university was being funded by the state. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, just like the folks over at Tennessee State, they had to get on Tennessee. They had to get on the state of Tennessee as far as the money that they had not received according to their land grants. Now's the time for everybody to really dig in and see exactly what's going on with their HBCUs from the standpoint if they're supposed to get land grant money. Different things just happening right now, because what people don't understand, the scab has been pulled back for everybody to finally understand. Excuse me, not the scab. The Band-Aid has been pulled back for everyone now to understand, okay, ooh, that hurt. So now if it hurt, it's time to really dig in to find out exactly, okay, how does things work within my HBCU? Is my HBCU being funded by the state properly? There's a lot of different things that need to go on. And I'm sorry, it's time to get out here and really go after it. We can no longer sit back and wait for somebody else to do for us. We can't. We cannot. Not going to an HBCU. Heck, they taught us that in them walls in which we was getting that education in the very beginning. They let us know you got to get up off your behind in order to get to where you're trying to go. And if you're not trying to do that, if you're not able to achieve or receive the things that you wish to have, you have no one to blame but yourself. But guys, like I stated before, Dr. French made some very valid points. Upset, but now it's time for us to go ahead and take advantage of it, because the programs, like I said, there's programs in place, or there's donors out there that would love for you to, create a new program in their name, in their honor, just to get people to come into that university to study that particular program. So guys, let's get out here. Let's get these resources moving. Let's find out exactly what it is that we need to do to continue to keep pushing this thing forward. And even myself, I need to get out here and do more as well. So guess what? That's exactly what we're going to do. We can no longer sit around and complain about what somebody ain't doing. The question is, what are you doing? A lot of people out here upset over what took place with the Supreme Court vote of 6-3, but this ain't the end. This is by no means the end. This is the beginning to rewrite the history the way we need to rewrite it, to make sure that our HBCUs are being funded in the manner which they need to. And it's high time that everybody get out of the mindset of thinking like, oh man, shoot, they ain't gonna give it to us, forget them, we ain't gonna do nothing. Nah, let's get out here and get after it. Because again, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you go. If you go to a PWI, you go to HBCU, the bottom line is, will you get in or won't you get in? But we know daggone for sure, they're going to accept you at the HBCU. So if you have an opportunity to take your talents and go to the HBCU to continue your collegiate career as far as being a student and get a good education, consider going to HBCU. But guys, Coach going to go ahead and get up on out this thing. But until next time, be the one and lead.